Welcome, dear audience of Awaken Within Daily. How was your day today? Whether it was filled with joy or weighed down by worry, no matter what happened, I truly hope that the you of today is a better version of the you of yesterday. My dear friend, in truth, feeling lost and unsteady is simply a defining feature of youth. No one goes without worrying about the future. But what truly matters is that you place yourself in positions that fit your strength and bring peace to your heart. Please do not force yourself too tightly into harsh boundaries. After all, we are only human, fragile, vulnerable, and delicate. So, please do not worry too much. Learn to love yourself and be a little more gentle with your soul. In this week's radio blog, let us sit back and listen to this piece. There are days when we just want to stop. There are nights when the city outside isn't truly asleep. Instead, it sinks into a deep, profound silence, the kind of stillness you can only find when the bustling sounds of survival have retreated behind closed doors. The clock ticks softly into the empty air, the thin movement of the second hand sounds somehow so heavy. You sit there, leaning back into the darkness, looking out of a small window where streetlights cast flickering, uneven shadows against the wall. The streets are utterly exhausted after a day of carrying so many burdens, and the person in this small room is no different. It is a very late evening. When everything lets go of its daytime mask to face its true self, it is also the exact moment when loneliness and confusion find their way back, vivid and chilling, like a cold autumn breeze brushing against your skin. In that near-sacred silence, we suddenly look back at the long journey we have walked over the years. We look back at the calluses on our hands, the deep dark circles etched under our eyes, and the invisible scars hidden quietly within our souls. We realize we have worked so hard, so much that we have forgotten what a proper day off even feels like. We learned this new thing, honed that new skill, scrimped and saved every hard-earned penny, and turned down joyful gatherings with friends just to dedicate every spare moment to work, to our dreams. We sowed so much sweat and hope into the soil of our lives, holding on to the innocent belief that if we just ran a little faster, tried a little harder, tomorrow would be different. But look back and see. After all that spinning wheel of effort, reality remains a dull shade of gray, showing no signs of brightening. The bank account still holds modest numbers that fail to bring peace of mind when facing an unexpected storm of illness or sudden life events. Work feels as unstable as a tiny boat before massive waves. Waking up tomorrow morning means worrying all over again whether we still hold enough value for them to keep us. The things we have long yearned for, the destinations we once painted so vividly during our eager youth, why is it that the more we chase them, the more blurred and distant they seem? It is like someone walking through a dense fog. The further you step forward, the thicker the blinding light rolls in around you, leaving you with no sense of direction and no way out. Right at that moment, painful, searching questions begin to echo in our minds. These questions do not come from blaming others. Instead, they point straight at ourselves, sharp and aching. Am I just not good enough? Is it because my starting point was too low, or is my ability simply limited to this? We look around and see this person buying a house, that person getting a new car. We see friends of our exact age peacefully establishing their place in life, while we are still fumbling at the starting line of an endless race. And then, following that doubt of our own capability, comes a heavy sigh of surrender, a bitter sense of self-pity rising up, tight and suffocating in the throat. Or has life simply forgotten about me? Has destiny crossed our names off the list of those who deserve to be happy, who deserve to succeed? People often tell each other that poverty is terrifying, that failure is a disgrace. But when you have walked through enough of life's ups and downs, you begin to understand a truth that is far more bitter. What causes a person the deepest despair, what leaves them completely depleted, is not a temporary lack of material things, nor is it stumbling painfully a few times. Rather, it is the feeling of having tried for so long, so persistently, emptying out the very last drop of your fading strength just to take a step forward, only to see nothing but an absolute void ahead, unable to catch even a tiny glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. It is the helplessness of a soul that has fully offered its sincerity and effort, only to receive the terrifying silence of time in return. That feeling of looking anywhere and finding no hope, looking anywhere and seeing only a solid, unyielding wall blocking every single exit, that is the true poison that eats away at our faith and tries to pull us down, tempting us to let go of everything. The deepest exhaustion is hoping for something that never comes to life. The suffering in this world takes countless shapes and forms. Yet, the ache of a person who carries hope in their heart, only to have it constantly rejected by reality, is the cruelest thing that can gnaw at your soul. Look back at the days you have traveled through. There were mornings when you woke up before the sun could even show its face, when the cold wind crept through the fabric of your clothes, forcing you to rush out onto the street just to catch the bus, to punch the time card on time. You worked diligently, giving everything you had, never hesitating to stay late, never complaining about taking on the heaviest burdens. Each month when you received your paycheck, the first thing you did wasn't to reward yourself with a beautiful outfit or a lavish meal. Instead, you sat down, calculating and pulling at every string to save every single penny. You saved in case of illness, you saved to send back home to your parents, and you saved for a future you promised yourself would be better. You turned off your luxury desires, gave up joyful gatherings with friends, and declined casual, pointless invitations to hang out. While others were fast asleep or enjoying good movies, you still sat beneath the dim light of a desk lamp to read another page, to learn a new skill, trying to fit more knowledge into your head with the simple hope of making yourself a little more valuable in the job market. You stayed up so late that your eyes stung, your back ached, and your mind felt as tightly wound as a guitar string. You sacrificed so much, trading away your youth and the simplest pleasures just for a chance to change your life. But what was the result you received after that long chain of days spent draining your strength? Your income remains at an average level, just enough to cover basic necessities without leaving much room for abundance. Your family back home still carries heavy burdens of worry, your parents' silhouettes grow thinner and older by the day, while you still haven't become the sturdy pillar of support you always dreamed of being. Your job is still full of uncertainties, you never know what tomorrow brings, and market fluctuations could sweep away your small position at any moment. And your dream? That dream of a peaceful, free life, where you don't have to worry about money, why does it still feel so deeply out of reach? It is like a sparkling star in the vast night sky. No matter how high you stand on your toes, no matter how far you stretch your hand, you simply cannot touch it. At that moment, we suddenly realize a deep philosophy of human existence. Human beings, in truth, are not afraid of suffering, nor are we afraid of exhaustion. We can endure hunger, we can endure the biting cold, and we can bear the overwhelming pressure of our work, as long as we know for certain that after 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years, this hardship will end and the sweet fruit will arrive. But what completely drains us, what causes our hearts to go utterly still, is having to endure suffering without ever knowing when it will finally come to an end. It is very much like being cast into a vast, endless desert. You keep walking and walking, your feet blistered and bleeding, your throat burning with thirst, yet all around you in every direction is nothing but sand and more sand. There is no shade from a tree, no source of water, and no signpost to tell you how much longer it will take to escape this wasteland. The uncertainty of time and the quiet stillness of hope are the truly sharp daggers that pierce deep into our patience. What causes us pain is not life, but our own impatience. When we sit back amid the ruins of our expectations, if we can find the stillness to look deeply into the nature of our pain, we will see another truth. This life does not naturally create pain just to torment us. Instead, it is the way we react, the way we overexpect, that acts as the trigger creating these aching wounds. We, the people living in an era where everything must be fast, have accidentally programmed ourselves with an invisible yet heavily pressured clock of destiny. We set strict deadlines for our own happiness and success. We tell ourselves, this year, I must buy a house, I must have a place to settle down so I can hold my head high in this world. We dictate, in 3 years, I must reach a managerial position and have a brilliantly successful career. Or we frame our lives with a harsh milestone, by 40, I must be stable, have plenty of savings, and a perfectly fulfilled family. These goals, in their essence, are not wrong. They are the fuel that drives us forward. But the danger lies in the moment we turn these milestones into unyielding dogmas. And so, when the clock of reality ticks past that self-imposed deadline while our hands are still empty, we immediately fall into a state of panic and despair. We look at the house we haven't bought yet, the job position we haven't reached, the bank balance that isn't what we wanted, and we immediately paste a label onto our own chest that reads, a failure. We watch the people around us achieve their goals before we do, and we begin to torment our own minds with negative thoughts. But do we ever stop to ask ourselves, why must this life operate exactly according to the schedule we drew up? Life, by its very nature, is a natural flow. The ocean has its rising and falling tides, the sky has its summer sun and its stormy rains. Life has never signed a single contract promising that it will move on time, meeting the commitment of any individual on this earth. The root of all suffering, when all is said and done, comes from impatience, from the mindset of wanting to harvest immediately. We invest a little effort and instantly want to bring back a profit. We live well for a moment and want life to return sweet fruit right away. This desire for speed goes completely against the natural laws of the universe. When reality moves slower than expectation, the space between desire and reality is exactly where suffering, resentment, and doubt are born. It is not that life is being cruel to you, it is that you are being too cruel to yourself by not allowing yourself the right to slow down, the right to accumulate enough volume before making a change in quality. Buddhist teachings on dependent origination and timing. Amid the days when my mind was tangled with my own impatience, I was fortunate enough to find a moment of stillness while turning the pages of Buddhist books. There is a classic teaching, not lofty at all, using no beautiful words to caress the pain, yet holding the power to awaken a weary soul. It is the teaching of dependent origination, causes and conditions. Buddhism teaches that all things arise from causes and conditions, and all things cease because of causes and conditions. The appearance or disappearance of anything in this world is never an accident, nor can it be forced if the elements that form it have not yet fully gathered. We often live with a narrow and stubborn view, believing that as long as we have a good cause, meaning our own effort, hard work, and talent, we should naturally receive a sweet fruit. But we forget a deeply important bridge in the middle. For that cause to turn into a fruit, it must cross a bridge called conditions. Let us contemplate the image of a seed. You hold in your hand a highly rare orange seed, plump, healthy, and full of life. That is a perfect cause. But if you place that seed on a glass dish completely empty of water, or sow it into a barren piece of land completely lacking in nutrients, can it ever sprout? Or if you sow it in the middle of freezing winter days, under blankets of white snow, lacking the warm sunshine of spring, can it ever burst into leaf? The answer is undeniably no. For a seed to sprout, grow into a tree, blossom, and bear fruit, it absolutely must gather enough supporting external factors. The soil must be loose and fertile, the water must provide enough moisture, the sunlight must be just right, the air must be fresh, and above all, it must be the right season, the right time. All of these factors, soil, water, light, and weather, are the conditions. If even one tiny element among these conditions is missing, the sweet fruit cannot yet take shape. Connecting this deeply to the life of each of us, it is exactly the same. There are phases where you feel you have poured out every ounce of your strength, studying day and night, working regardless of exhaustion, meaning you have sown a beautifully wholesome and powerful cause. And yet, why is work still unstable? Why has wealth not gathered? And why do dreams remain just out of reach? It is simply because your conditions have not yet arrived. Perhaps the times are not yet right. Perhaps the market does not yet need that specific skill of yours. Perhaps the kind souls who are meant to help you are still at some crossroads and have not yet appeared, or simply, your inner energy still needs more time to be tempered until it is truly ripe. Realizing this is not for us to simply give up to fate or fall into a lazy kind of determinism. On the contrary, it brings a grand liberation to our minds. You will understand that the delay of success does not mean you are useless or incapable. It is merely a natural law. The cause has been sown, but the conditions are not yet sufficient. Instead of sitting around blaming heaven and earth, instead of torturing yourself during sleepless nights, our only job is to keep nurturing that cause so it becomes deeply rooted, and patiently smile as we wait for the gentle conditions to gather. A farmer does not dig up seeds every morning. To understand more thoroughly this concept of patience with time, let us look at the greatest lecture hall of life, nature, and the people who are bound to Mother Earth. Let us observe the image of a true farmer. After turning the soil, applying fertilizer, and carefully sowing the seeds deep into the ground, what does the farmer do the next morning? Do they go out to the field, carrying a small shovel, and anxiously dig up the layer of dirt to see if their seed has cracked its shell yet, or if any root has grown? Absolutely not. No ordinary farmer would ever do such a foolish action born of pure doubt. Because they hold an absolute faith in the laws of heaven and earth. They know clearly that once the seed rests beneath the warm earth, their job is not to interfere with its secret process of growth. Their job is to continue doing the diligent work needed each day, sowing, watering, weeding, catching pests, and caring. As for whether the seed sprouts on the 5th, the 7th, or the 10th day, that is the work of nature, the work of time. They do not doubt the seed, they do not impatiently force Mother Earth. They wait in a deeply respectable state of serenity. Looking at our modern human beings today, we see how tragically different we are. We live in a world of touchscreens, fast food, and supersonic flights, and we bring that exact instant gratification mindset into the growth journey of a human life. We sow a tiny bit of effort today, work just a little harder than usual for a week, and by the 8th day, we are already standing in front of the mirror asking, "Why am I not rich yet? Why hasn't life changed?" We sign up for a 1-month course, learn a new skill for a few weeks, and instantly expect to change our lives, get a raise, and have everyone look up to us. We have only just begun to open our hearts to love someone, experience 2 or 3 sweet months, and already hurriedly demand an eternal, flawless happiness that never experiences stormy weather. We are hasty in every thought, rushed in every action. And it is that very haste and impatience that often accidentally kills the fragile faith newly sparked within us. When reality fails to return immediate results like instant noodles, we begin to harbor doubt, doubting the path we walk, doubting our own ability, and finally letting go and giving up right before the seed even has a chance to crack its shell and sprout. The failure of many people in this world, when all is said and done, is not because they sowed the wrong seed, but because they dug that seed up too many times out of sheer impatience. Some things only time can answer. There is an obvious truth that we often forget during our rushed years. Time is not merely a physical measurement, it is also a great filter, the only catalyst that can ripen the deepest values of a human being. There are experiences, lessons, and even pains that, at the moment they occur, feel completely unreasonable, cruel, and meaningless to us. But we must walk far enough away, and look back with enough distance, to truly understand the profound intention of destiny. Think about books. At 20 years old, when life is still a pink silk ribbon filled with illusions, you turn the pages of classic literature or deep life philosophies. You read them, you understand every single word, but your soul remains completely indifferent. You find them distant, cliché, and somewhat exaggerated. Then, time revolves. Life throws you into the storms of survival, forcing you to taste the salt of tears, the bitterness of betrayal, and the isolation of white nights carrying storms all by yourself. Until you are 40 years old, on a cold, rainy afternoon, you accidentally turn back to the exact same pages from years ago. Having read only a few lines, you suddenly burst into tears. Those tears fall not because the book has changed, but because you yourself have changed. You cry because you realize every single word is speaking about your own life, crying because you now have enough wrinkles in your soul to feel the depth that your 20-year-old self could never possibly touch. Or think about the people who have walked through your life. Back then, when a close friend suddenly turned their back, or when someone you loved deeply chose to leave, you were in so much pain that it felt as though your chest was breaking apart. You resented them, you resented destiny for why it ruthlessly pulled you apart. But many years later, when the wounds of the heart have healed into new skin, and you are a mature, courageous individual, you look back at their departure and gently smile with gratitude. You realize that if they hadn't left back then, you would forever remain a dependent, weak child who loves to possess. That very fracture forced you to stand firmly on your own 2 feet, teaching you the lesson of independence and how to cherish true values. They appeared only to complete a short mission, to help you grow, and then quietly recede into the past. Even the most devastating failures, losing a job, a ruined project, a harsh rejection, at that exact moment, you think your life is completely over. You see yourself as a helpless person backed into a dead end. But it is that very dead end that forces you to turn around, to look toward a different direction that you never paid attention to before because you were too absorbed in the old, worn-out path. And then, from that accidental turning point, you find a more suitable job, a true passion, the most beautiful plot twist of your life. It turns out that some rejections are actually the artful arrangements of destiny, closing a broken-down door to force you to find a wide, open avenue. All of these things, while you are standing inside the storm, no one can explain to make you understand. Only time, as it quietly flows away, carries with it the most complete answer. The lotus does not bloom in a clean place. When facing prolonged adversity, humans tend to blame their circumstances. We wish we were born into a wealthier family, wish our working environment was less toxic, wish our lives were smoother and had fewer thorns. Yet, nature once again uses its most exquisite symbols to teach us a profound lesson about existence. That is the image of the lotus flower. The lotus is a strange flower. It does not choose fertile alluvial soil, carefully manicured imperial gardens, or luxurious, clean porcelain pots to sprout. The only place the lotus chooses to anchor its roots, rise high, and bloom is within the mud. What is mud? Mud is where the dirtiest, most unpleasant things settle, a place that people usually avoid and look down upon. And yet, if there were no thick, pungent layer of mud, where would the lotus find the nutrients to nourish its body? If there were no surrounding, crushing weight of the black mud at the bottom of the lake, where would the lotus seed find the drive to awaken, to gather all its life force to push a straight sprout through the deep water to touch the sunlight? The more mud there is, the greater the opportunity for the lotus to rise up even more beautifully, releasing its rich fragrance. The true nature of the lotus is never polluted by the mud. On the contrary, it uses the exact nutrients from the mud to transform them into a pure pink hue, into a pristine scent that beautifies life. People love and revere the lotus precisely for that character, living in the mud, yet untainted by the scent of mud. If one day you were to plant a lotus in a tank of completely pure water with no mud at all, it would wither and slowly die. It needs the mud as a prerequisite to define its own value. We humans probably operate under a similar law. The most difficult days, the financial pressures surrounding you, the gossip, and the injustices you are having to endure, none of them appear to defeat you, nor to drown you in despair. They are the mud. Life is throwing you into the mud to test your character, to force the sharpest, most resilient part inside you to awaken. Those sleepless nights of worry, the sweat falling on the pages, the humiliations you have to swallow backward inside, they are the special nutrients nourishing your inner strength. It is within that harsh environment that you learn how to endure, how to be patient, and how to protect your kindness from being stained. The bamboo takes 4 years just to grow 3 centimeters of roots beneath the soil, but from the 5th year onward, it shoots upward like a storm, growing 30 centimeters every single day. Pebbles that want to become smooth and round must undergo thousands of years enduring the erosion of swift currents. Young bamboo shoots wanting to become mature bamboo must crack their own shells, piercing through dry, rocky soil under pouring forest rains. A river wanting to flow into the vast ocean must accept curving through countless vertical limestone cliffs, enduring many painful bends. There is no greatness, no stability in this world born from a completely soft and clean velvet carpet. Pain and hardship are the crucible where resilient souls are tempered to become undefeated. The roots always grow before the tree reaches high. In the natural world, there is an unbending law that our naked eyes rarely notice. For a tree to reach as high as it wants into the sky, its roots must anchor just as deeply into the heart of the earth. People walk down a street, see a majestic tree with lush leaves providing shade for an entire area, and everyone praises its grand, sturdy beauty. They see the vibrant blossoms, they see the branches heavy with sweet fruit. But beneath that deep layer of soil, few give a thought to a gnarled, dark network of roots, working silently night and day to weave through every rock, enduring the cold, the darkness, and the crushing weight of tons of dirt just to keep the trunk standing firm against the storm. The life of a human being is no different from that law. When looking at a successful person who has a firm position and stable finances, the crowd usually only sees what glitters the most: fame, money, luxurious clothes, and words of praise. They call it luck, they call it genius. But no one sees, or they deliberately ignore, their silent years spent in the dark. No one sees the times they failed to the point of empty hands. The bitter tears swallowed backward inside. The endless sleepless nights staring at the ceiling with a mind tangled in 100 worries. To have one brilliant hour beneath the spotlight, they had to go through thousands of lonely hours in the dark, where they had to speak with themselves, heal themselves, and lift themselves up after every single fall. The difficult days you are experiencing in the present, when you feel you are working so hard yet no one recognizes it, when your bank balance still makes you startle with anxiety every night, please understand, you are not standing still, and you are certainly not moving backward. You are simply in your root-growing phase. A tree can only grow as high as its roots are deep. If you do not experience those years of silent endurance, accumulating inner strength through hardships, how will you ever have enough character to carry great success later on? If life handed you success too easily while your inner self was still fragile, you would be just like a tree with shallow roots but a canopy too large. The slightest breeze passing by would rip the entire tree out by its roots and send it crashing down. The heavens usually nurture the roots before letting the tree welcome the sun. These current trials are simply the universe's way of strengthening your roots, forcing you to mature from deep within, so that when the right time comes, you can stand proudly and firmly against any storm in life. Some delays are actually a form of protection. We often blame fate for forcing us to wait for so long. Why is it that others wish for something and receive it instantly, while we are forever struggling and drifting? But if one day you stand at a higher peak and look back, you will realize, some delays, some of the not yets in the past, were actually a silent protection full of compassion that life offered to you. Imagine if you achieved brilliant success and held a vast amount of wealth in your hands at just 20 years old, when your ego was still too large, arrogance was abundant, and your life experience was barely anything. Would you be able to guard yourself against the temptations and illusory praises out there? Or would that premature wealth turn you into someone arrogant and fallen, only to ultimately face a fall that is many times more painful and humiliating? If you met the person you believed was the absolute right one during the years you were still reckless, selfish, and only knew how to take rather than give, would you know how to cherish and protect that love, or would you accidentally hurt them and lose each other forever? Life operates according to the word enough. It is not that life is stripping away or taking the things you want, it is merely holding on to them for you. The universe is waiting for you to grow up, waiting for you to gather enough steadiness, enough tolerance, enough maturity and calm. If success comes late, it is so you can learn humility and cherish every tiny value. If wealth gathers late, it is so you know how to manage it and use it for things that truly matter, instead of wasting it on fleeting vanities. If happiness is stuck in traffic and hasn't arrived, it is so that on the day the two of you meet, you are already the most perfect version of yourself, knowing how to listen, how to understand, and how to walk together through life's ups and downs. So, instead of resenting the delay, gently thank it. You are being protected from the bruised falls of forced ripening. Take advantage of this slow time to sharpen yourself, to learn and accumulate. When you are big enough, what belongs to you will naturally find its way back, whole, and right on time. Do not compare your clock with someone else's. In the late nights spent facing four empty walls, what drives us to despair the easiest? It is comparison. We scroll through our phone screens, looking at celebratory announcements and radiant photos of our peers. This person became a director at 25, that person owned their dream home at 30, with a perfectly fulfilled family. Looking back at ourselves, we see how left behind we are, how miserable. We wonder why their clock runs so fast and accurately, while our own clock seems to have gone completely still long ago. But my friend, there is no single, universal time zone for success in this world. Each person is born with a biological and destiny clock of their own. Some people stand at the peak of fame at 25, but by 35, they fall into a crisis and have to start all over again. Then there are others who only find their life's turning point at 50, but from then on, they live a brilliant and peaceful life until their twilight years. No one is late, and no one is early. All of us are operating exactly according to our own time zone. Look out at the natural world to see the miracle of creation. When spring arrives, apricot and cherry blossoms compete to show off their vibrant colors under the morning sun. They are the messengers of the new year, of new beginnings. But does the sunflower ever feel insecure because it cannot bloom in January? Do the autumn chrysanthemums ever torment themselves over why they must wait until the cool autumn breezes sweep in to unfold their petals? No, every flower patiently waits for its own season. No flowers bloom on the exact same day, but when the right time comes, they all offer their most beautiful colors and rich fragrances to the world. Human beings are the same, we have different blooming seasons. The fact that you haven't achieved what you want at 30 does not mean you will always struggle. It is simply because your season has not yet arrived. Do not take someone else's ruler to measure your own life. Do not let the clock of the person next to you disrupt your own calm, steady pace. Focus on planting and watering your own soil, and your blooming season will arrive in the most peaceful and complete way. Happiness lies not at the destination, but in the way we walk. We often live in an illusion: when I have a lot of money, then I will be happy; when I buy a house, then I can smile; or when my job is stable, then I will have time for my family. We turn happiness into a distant destination in the future, and accidentally transform our present into a chain of hard labor days, filled with stress and resentment. We shoot forward like an arrow, our eyes fixed solely on that target while completely forgetting the beautiful scenery on both sides of the road. But life is not a marathon where the person who crosses the finish line first takes home all the prizes. If you only know how to wait until the day you succeed to allow yourself to be happy, you will realize a harsh truth: once you reach this goal, human greed and fear will simply paint another target, higher and further away. And you will forever be someone chasing shadows, depleted on the journey of survival without ever truly living a single day. While you are caught up in the whirl of pressures, how many precious things have quietly slipped by? It is a warm family meal where all members are present, where laughter washes away the exhaustion outside. It is a brilliant golden sunset casting its light on a small balcony corner, where you can stand in pure silence and watch the world pull down its curtain. It is the innocent smile of your child welcoming you at the door after a long day. It is a warm, fragrant cup of tea in the early morning, or simply a cool breeze brushing against your skin in the middle of a sultry summer day. Sometimes, the most precious thing, the thing that truly nourishes your soul, does not lie at the peak of glory you always long for. It lies right on the rugged road that you think is filled only with hardships and trials. The moments of holding hands through the storm, the shared heart and warmth during days of scarcity, that is the most sacred and deepest bond. Learn to cherish every single step. Learn to find joy in the very effort you make each day. Happiness is not a reward at the end of the road, happiness is the very road you are walking. When we are mature enough, we no longer ask when. There is an invisible yet very clear boundary between the impulsive years of youth and the moment a person truly steps through the doorway of spiritual maturity. When we are young, we always live with a highly self-centered and hasty mind. We stand before life like a child standing in front of a pastry shop, constantly demanding, forcing, and asking impatient questions. When will I be rich? When will I be successful? When will this suffering end so I can be happy? Those questions echo continuously like honking car horns in the middle of a jammed intersection, only making our minds more chaotic, exhausted, and resentful of reality. Yet, when we have walked through enough ups and downs, when our feet are tired from the bends of fate and our hearts have been tempered through stormy days, a seasoned person will no longer ask those kinds of questions. They begin to let go of their attachment to the words when. Instead of looking toward a distant, uncertain future to demand results, they turn their hearts back to the present, quietly and deeply. A truly mature person, upon waking up every morning, only asks themselves very simple things. Did I live with kindness today? Did I fulfill my duties to my work and the ones I love? Amid all this busyness, can my heart still hold on to its peace? And do I still know how to be grateful to life because waking up this morning, I still have a roof to shelter me from the rain and sun, still have a job to pour my efforts into, and still have people to love? That is true maturity. When you realize that the value of a day does not lie in how much money you made or how many steps closer you got to the destination of fame, but in how completely and serenely you lived through it. Peace does not come from your life being completely smooth, without any obstacles. Peace comes from the ability to smile and welcome every variable of life, whether it is a beautiful sunny day or a day of pouring rain and wild storms. Conclusion: keep walking. It is not time yet. Let your soul settle down and look at the larger picture of all things. There are seeds that must lie very deep, for a very long time under the dark earth. All around them is coldness, the crushing pressure of soil and sand, and long days without a single drop of sunlight. The crowd walking past, looking at that empty patch of land, will say that the place is desolate, that the seed inside must have rotted away long ago. But no, that seed is not dead. It is living its most silent and fierce life. It is focusing its entire life force on growing its roots. It must push its roots deeply and widely to embrace Mother Earth, preparing for a tomorrow where it rises into a proud, majestic giant. There are rivers born from tiny rocky crevices on high mountain peaks. Their path is never a straight line. They must flow over vertical cliffs, curve through deep valleys, and encounter bends that seem completely blocked by solid mountain ranges. But the river never stops. It keeps flowing silently, patiently, and resiliently, crossing thousands of miles of great forests, only to burst with emotion one day when the vast, deep blue ocean appears right before its eyes. And we humans are the same. Some people must walk through many rainy seasons, must be soaked through the storms of life before they learn how to smile serenely in the face of change. If today you feel your shoulders are too weary, and the pressure of life makes it hard to breathe, then allow yourself to rest for a moment. Sit down, take a sip of tea, look at the clouds in the sky, and breathe deeply. If today you see yourself moving slower than others, see the people around you already crossing the finish line while you are still fumbling, then just walk slowly. Moving slowly is perfectly fine, as long as you do not turn back, as long as you do not stop. Then there will come a day, when you stand at a peaceful peak of your life, looking back at the rugged, pebble-strewn path you have traveled, you will no longer feel resentment, no longer ask yourself, why did I have to suffer so much back then? Because at that moment, you will understand that if you hadn't gone through those long nights of sleepless worry, if you hadn't experienced the days when you felt you could walk forever without arriving, there would never be the courageous, deep, and serene version of you today. This life is very fair. Some things do not arrive late, they are merely patiently waiting for you to grow up so they can arrive at the exact moment you are mature enough, steady enough to welcome and hold on to them in the most complete way. So, my friend, take a truly deep breath, smile gently, and whisper to your heart. Keep walking. It is not time yet. Each day is a new experience, and every age holds its own unique beauty. Perhaps your mood isn't at its best today, or maybe life is leaving you feeling weary. But if you can hear these spoken words right now, then perhaps there is a gentle touch of destiny between us. Please believe that every hardship is only temporary, and every sadness will eventually pass away. Wishing you paths filled with health, deep peace, and abundant blessings on the journey ahead.